Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another edition of Shear Chat with Rashawn. I am your host, Rashawn Broadnax, and this evening I have my special guest, the owner of Indulge Beauty and Grooming Lounge, right here in the nation's capital.
No, downtown Silver Spring.
Well, we claim everything in the nation's capital,
DMV.
you know. Yeah, that too. Miss Shanae Blunt.
Thank you. Hello.
Yes, hello to you. Shanae, meet the people.
Hello, people.
People, meet Shanae.
Here I am.
Baby, you have to buckle your seat. The ride has already begun. I'm not even going to tell you what we started talking about. You know, the good conversation always happens in the commercial breaks before and after a show, so it's already started. We're here for a purpose, and I wanted to bring to you none other than Miss Shanae. And so, Shanae, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Let's see. I am multifaceted.
Okay.
So I've been told. There are many interesting things about myself. Let's see. I'm a lover of God.
Okay.
Lover of family, my friends, a mother, an entrepreneur. So I do own my own business and an educator.
Good.
I have a passion for all things beauty. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's me in a nutshell. Native Washingtonian.
Okay.
So,
see, that's exciting.
Yes, because there's one thing that we need to correct. When you say DMV, it's all the same. No, honey. When you are from D.C., when you are a true native Washingtonian, we don't claim that PG County, Montgomery County stuff. No. If you are outside the diamond, you are outside of the diamond. Yes. So there's D.C.
You're in the outfield.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So there's the D, no MV. Okay.
It's just the D.
Just the.
All right. So you're you're from the D.
I'm from the District of Columbia.
Y'all gonna have to forgive me. I was a little bit under the weather, so if I cough, just excuse it. But that was funny. Okay, you see what you're in the store for. Okay, so how long have you been in the cosmetology industry? Or before you even go there, when did you start, or when did you notice that you had a passion for cosmetology or hair itself to go into the beauty industry?
Honestly, the beauty world is something that I always say, it chose me. Okay. I did not choose it. My grandmother and her sisters owned salons in D.C. And growing up, I was just around hair all the time. So when my grandmother got to the age where she had arthritis in her hands, her knees didn't work as well, she would send me to her girlfriend's house. True story. The first time I did hair, she sent me with 2 eggs and some mayonnaise, and said she needs some protein.
Oh my goodness.
And a moisture treatment.
See?
And the moisture treatment, the eggs, and she told me when you get there, you crack it, you mix it up. She had this little concoction. I said, we're going to bake a cake or we're going to do hair.
Right.
But as I got older and I looked back, when I started looking at the composition and the chemistry of protein treatments and things like that, I was like, Grandma been doing this all along,
exactly.
but and we'll get into that later, going back to the old school way of doing things. I believe that people, when their resources are limited, that's when they become the most creative.
Right. Absolutely.
So at 9 years old, I was doing protein treatments with egg and moisture treatments with mayonnaise, honey. So my grandmother started me very young. I remember 5 years old at church with the dress all the way out to here. So I've been a fashionista, apparently, before my own choosing. Yes, for many, many years.
Well, one thing that you said was that your hair used to be really long, and I have to tell you, I am enjoying the shortcut on you.
Thank you,
ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Shanae's hair, I've always known her to have hair, at least to her shoulders. So when I heard that you were cutting your hair, I was
You were here.
Well, I didn't hear about it. I think your stylist told me that it was a thought.
Okay.
First. And so I was like, no, she's not. I don't believe it. And when I saw it, I was like, oh my goodness. But I loved it. But then someone else told me just recently, they said, she cut all her hair off. So I said, really? They said, yeah, it's about as short as yours. I said,
it is not that short.
So I said, okay, but I think it was a shock to them, and
I've always had short hair. The first time I cut my hair, I was 13 years old. I was going into junior high school, and I was tired of the Saturday night sessions with Grandma.
With Grandma.
And I literally cut it about this length. And in 7th grade, junior high school, I was walking around with a page boy, child.
Wow.
Yes, a page boy. And even, and I maintained it against my grandmother's will. I was, sneaking the scissors, but I've always worn short hair. Then I'll grow it out.
Right.
I'll cut it, grow it out. But for many years, it was short. Yeah, that headshot is like 8 years old.
Really?
That's not a new headshot.
I thought that was the new style. Okay.
No.
Don't be sending me no old headshots.
But honey,
see how the
it's
folks
still
do?
me.
They will send you
but
old
you
stuff.
you couldn't tell the difference.
I was tricked by that.
Black don't crack, honey. Even the light skin kind. The white chocolate kind don't crack either.
Exactly. All kinds of chocolate.
Yeah.
All right. So, so you said you've been in the beauty industry where you've had your interest since a very young age. When did you go into the field?
Not even an interest.
Officially?
I did my friend's hair going through school, or high school rather, but when I got ready to graduate high school and go to college, my mom didn't want me to go to hair school because she thought I was following in my grandmother's footsteps, and she felt like my grandmother was pressuring me. So I actually started college with a major in criminal justice.
Okay.
And sociology. But I had a trip to Lorton that I'm not going to get into.
I'm scared to ask.
And I will not
Okay,
answer.
well, I would not say it.
But yes. So
needless to say.
Needless to say,
Right.
I took a different path, but I went to Arizona State University and I majored in family and human development.
Nice.
And my sociology and psychology background kind of propelled me for a career when I was on staff at ASU, and I ran a program that helped minorities get their PhDs in math and science.
Nice.
But in running that program, I had a lot of minorities that came like from the South or underprivileged families and things like that I was still doing their hair.
Okay.
So again, it wasn't that I really wanted to do their hair.
Right.
We're not going to travel with Miss Shanae and your hair looks like that, man. So you
sit on over here.
You come to my house. And before we travel, I need to get those roots together. But I suffered a layoff.
Okay.
During the housing market because ASU is a public university. So when they laid off staff members, I was one of those people that got laid off. So when they gave me my severance package, the first thing I did in my mind, I said, I'm going to go travel. But my mentor at the time, he said, what is your next move? And I said, I hadn't given much thought to it. And he said, what are you passionate about? I said, I'm passionate about making money. And he said, no, what are you really passionate about? And for like the first time I was stumped. I did not have an answer as to where my true passion lied. It took me 2 weeks to figure out that what passion meant to me was something that I would do even if I didn't get paid to do it.
Okay.
And I thought about it, and initially I said nothing. There's nothing.
I'm with you.
There's nothing I would do for free. But then
you find out.
But then one of my students called and said, Miss Shanae, am I still coming to get my hair done this evening? I said, without a question, of course. And then it hit me. I've been doing free hair all my life. And it was natural for me. I never saw hair as a job or even a career path. It was just something that I just found myself doing because it was dropped into my lap. So when I got my severance package, I actually went to Paul Mitchell, the school in Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
And that's where like cutting and coloring just really came alive to me. Okay. Before that, I was just what they call doing hair. But that is what really laid the foundation, the groundwork for me to become a stylist, a colorist, a true artist, and to actually respect the art of hair, the art of beauty, to do things, to become classically trained, to understand the science behind it, the language behind it, the math behind it. I saw things totally different. And then that's where my gifts kind of, would you say, got stirred up and the passion then became alive. But what incited education for me was, here we go, Paul Mitchell, the school in Phoenix, Arizona. So even though, I was pretty much, I blended. There were some things that in the curriculum that I was like, no, we need something else.
Right.
We need some oil, honey. We
Right.
need these type of products. And what I really loved about that experience is that the owner, everything I needed, she never questioned.
Okay.
She would go get the products. If I needed to do a mold, a wet set, a wrap style, anything like that, she would go outside of
Right.
the
what you
company
had
and
there.
get the products that I needed.
And you know what? I think that's an interesting point, because I look at schools today, and often the layperson will look at schools and categorize them either as the white school or the black school. When we know, when dealing with hair, we're dealing with texture.
Texture, absolutely.
So you know, it's interesting that you say to be the vessel to bridge that kind of gap. I think that's what we need, especially in the area in which we live, which is DC.
Absolutely.
We are in a very affluent area. We have now a large population that are moving in, where stylists who have been doing textured hair for years have not worked on straight textured hair.
Absolutely.
And so now they are kind of afraid, you know, and I look at a lot of salons and see how they turn people away without taking a moment just to think,
Yes.
it's still just texture.
It's just hair. But
That's
you can only say that when you have the why behind it.
Okay.
Because people are always afraid of what they don't know.
Very true. Very
So
true.
if all I know is wavy hair or kinky hair or textured hair, that's my comfort zone.
Right. Very
And
true.
it isn't a race thing per
right.
se. It's the unknown.
Very true.
And people are afraid of what they do not know.
Very good point. And I think that's something important for young stylists to hear today, to kind of understand that, or the importance of learning both sides of that coin. You know, how bridging those two textures, or skills to deal with those two textures, you know, how important it's going to be today for this time, because like I said, it's so many people moving into the city, and I see a lot of salons that are actually closing their doors because they're unable to service people.
Absolutely.
Right here on the U Street corridor, we see salons close all the time, while, you know, many are opening. The ones who have been here for years, the staples, they are no longer here. And I think that is part of the reason why they're unfamiliar with how to deal with the clients that are coming in today. So,
Yeah, because DC used to be Chocolate City.
right.
And now it's a chocolate swirl. So unless you can get down with the swirl,
Right.
you're pretty much you're
could be
stepping.
left out.
You're going to be left out. And instead of embracing the change, a lot of us have fought the changes. But honestly, this train is moving full speed ahead.
I was about to say full steam ahead.
So you may as well embrace it,
Right.
get on board, open yourself to education, move the fear out of the way, and actually find the fun in it.
Absolutely. I think
yeah.
that's the key. If you can find fun in something, you'll be okay.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you this. So you said you went to Paul Mitchell, the school, for your cosmetology education. Where
Yes.
did you do your instructor's education?
Bennett Career Institute.
Why? Is that fabulous school in
That
North?
fabulous school on Monroe Street.
Like I tell you all the time, that is where I work. So I'm very proud of that place. I've been there for a very, very long time. Very, very long time. Long time.
Yes.
Yes, but so you took your instructor's education there, and then thereafter, what did you do with that?
So I did my instructor's coursework at Bennett, and I took that and I went and taught at Paul Mitchell.
Okay.
But Bennett was a very unique experience for me, because even though I am a native Washingtonian, the culture there, I was taken aback.
Right. You were unfamiliar with.
I was unfamiliar. And even though, again, I'm from DC, born and bred, but I was accustomed to doing hair and handling business in Arizona. Very different experience. So when I came back to Bennett, everything was texture, everything was colorful, everything was rambunctious and loud and in your face. And that experience, again, really taught me the creativity of limited resources. I don't know if it was a show of some sort outside or a challenge in the building, but I saw these girls pull together a whole hairstyle with 3 products and some yarn. And I was like...
And see, that's one of the great things I find about being in the school myself every day is you see those creative things. And like you said, it's with limited resources. You know, it's easy to go and say, okay, I can buy, $20 color. I can go buy, all these expensive things to get the look that I want. But what do you do when you have when you're limited?
Absolutely.
So one of my favorite challenges that I love to see is the challenge to go outside and get nature items and come back and create a hairstyle with that. And so I think that to me is one of the most creative things because you can't use anything that is not found in nature. So it's your styles are usually like braided styles, but it incorporates the tree twigs and the leaves and the flowers and things like that. So I love those creative things. And so I'm glad that you mentioned that.
And when you are in this creative industry, in the beauty industry, you have to find inspiration from all sources. And I think nature is one of the best sources for inspiration.
I absolutely agree.
I agree too.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for our first break. Again, I am your host for another evening of Shear Chat, Rashawn, and my special guest, Miss Shanae of the Indulge Beauty and Grooming Lounge. We'll be right back after these messages. All right, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rashawn Broadnex, and I'm here with Shanae Blunt of Indulge Beauty and Grooming Lounge of Silver Spring, Maryland.
Of Silver Spring, downtown Silver Spring, Hollywood.
She does not want to claim D.C., but it's okay. No. We say everybody is D.C. She's from D.C.
I claim D.C.,
exactly.
But I don't work in D.C., and I'm fully aware.
Did you catch that? So we were just talking to Shanae about her cosmetology and instructing education. So tell us a little bit now about this salon. I've heard so much about it. I've enjoyed watching you recreate the salon, or should I say redecorate, remodel, and all of that. So tell us a little bit about that.
It's my baby, and it's just like raising a child. Some days it's a beam of joy and pride. And then there are those days where you say, what have I created? The heartache. The heartache that this thing has brought me, and the financial drain and strain. But the rewards have been endless. And the opportunity that I have to extend to other people, that has definitely been a joy to me. I've seen myself grow as a person as well as a stylist in this feat. One thing about entrepreneurship, it's not all glitz and glamour as a lot of people assume. There are things that can go wrong at any moment.
And you are solely responsible.
SOLE.
Okay.
So if something were to go wrong, if the toilet floods, if something gets clogged, if the AC goes out in the middle of summer.
The hottest day of summer.
The hottest day of summer. The coldest day of winter. And the heat goes out. It's almost like whatever can go wrong will always find a way. But yeah, I love my space. Some days I like my space. Some days I stay away from that space, but it is just like a child. But I do enjoy the work that is produced there. I enjoy the talent that comes through. I choose to work with talented artists, and the inspiration that I pull from other people, and people often say that they're inspired or can pull something away from me. I appreciate that. It's just about working together in this industry and becoming your best self. I know that when I graduated from Paul Mitchell, I really thought I was the best hairstylist, hair cutter on earth. And then when the rubber hit the road, I realized there was so much more for me to learn. And even to this day, I've been doing hair for a long time, and I cut hair pretty okay. But there's still, so I've been told, but there's still so much more for me to learn. I think that's what has kept me same
Right.
thus far is the fact that I have accepted the fact that I don't know everything, and I'm open to the process of learning. I know it. Many people think that I know everything. I know you're one of them. But it's true. It's true. I don't know everything.
Well, I think that is such an important point to bring out, because so often I see graduates of cosmetology school come out and it's like, they've got it. They think that 1,500 hour mark is the key. They have been adorned by God himself and they are ready. And then it's like when you go into the salon, then they come back and they're like, I can't believe. I don't know what happened. I thought you were the best on the clinic floor, baby.
The clinic floor.
The clinic floor.
Where it was free $99.
And
when your haircuts were $7. You should have a following at $7.
Where okay was acceptable, where you're still in that learning process, when you're striving, you were good. But now you're out here with veterans, you're out here with other creative people, and you realize that, hey, I have so much more to learn.
Absolutely.
And so I really wish, that's one thing that I wish that students in general of all schools would understand, that school is school. It's the learning ground. Just because you complete does not mean that you know everything.
Absolutely.
What would you consider to be the specialty that the salon is known for?
Cut and color.
Okay,
that's what we do.
So tell us about
I pride myself and I specialize in customized cuts.
Okay.
Once you, again, the foundation, the basics, the science, the math of the head shape, understanding angles, 30 degrees, 45 degrees, 60 and 90, cutting according to, the shape of the head, the apex, the nape. When you take all of those things into consideration, everyone gets a customized experience.
Right.
I recall when I was, I had a stylist, and I told you I've been wearing short hair for a long time, and I thought my haircut was the best thing since sliced bread, child. Until I was in the grocery store and I saw a woman walk by with the exact same cut. And I said, ma'am, did so-and-so cut your hair? She said, yeah, how did you know?
Exactly.
But it was one of those things where her head shape was different. And I have noticed on different people, you can have the same cut, but if it is not customized to their head shape, their reference points, taking into it's off.
It's off.
If that part is not correct, separating the front from the back, the left from the right, if baby girl, if their mama did not lay them on their head as a child or stroke that head, we may have some challenged skulls, to accommodate for. So, again, school is just the basics. When you're there, it feels like forever. But that is just the beginning. People don't understand that in school you are tolerated. But once you hit the salon door, you once you have your chair, you want to move to a place where you are appreciated. And a lot of people don't realize your first 2 years with the license, you will still be tolerated.
Exactly. See, I like that, though. I like that. I'm going to have to steal that.
You're welcome.
She is a hoot.
My passion in this industry is to bring the respect back that we deserve.
Okay.
I say it all the time, and people may be watching and they've heard me say it time and time before. If you have a toothache, where do you go?
To the dentist.
To the dentist. If you have some type of skin abrasion going on or something's wrong with your skin, where do you go?
The dermatologist.
A dermatologist. When something is wrong with your hair, where should you go?
When your hair is aching.
When your hair is aching, honey.
You should go to your professional
You need
stylist.
to go to a professional stylist, not your cousin in her kitchen. That is not how this works. So my passion is to bring the respect back to this industry that we have earned and we deserve. To go through cosmetology school is not an easy feat. There's science involved. There's the, information regarding reducing the spread of infectious diseases. There's science there. There's math there. There's physics there. There's chemistry. We put in a lot of hard work. Sometimes sweat and sometimes tears. And sometimes blood. So
exactly.
I can't take this
Right.
1,500 and 1,600, and even in California, a 2,100
Right.
hour requirement, and bottle this up
Right.
and spread this love in a kitchen. That's not
It doesn't
where
work that
that's not where hairdressing
Right.
belongs. So,
But you know what? I liken that, and I'm glad that you say that, because I often share with people when we talk about the professionalism of the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's always a hot topic about a stylist working from home. You know, that is a show that we're going to have, you know, that may be the topic for the reunion. But, you know, working from home, because there are a lot of stylists who choose to work from home. You know, my standpoint is, I get that you're licensed, because some people say that that's where it hinges. As long as I have my license, I can do hair anywhere. You know, true, you can do hair anywhere. Now, the thing is, a professional works in their office.
yes, you can have an in-home office, but it shouldn't be where you're frying chicken.
Exactly.
So, and there's
exactly.
and I don't want to be taken out of context and misunderstood. It's not to say that you can't practice hairdressing at home, because honestly, that's a part of our culture.
Absolutely.
Sitting between mama's knees, especially when you're talking about braids and things. I grew up between my mama's knees and my grandma's knees getting my hair done. But what we won't do is start mixing developer.
Right. In the kitchen.
In the kitchen. We will not bring the chemicals into the kitchen.
Right.
And we will not be cutting hair
in the kitchen.
Right. Because that is unsanitary and unclean. If you do hair at home, do not invite me to your house for dinner. I do not want your hairy fried chicken. Because if you truly cut hair, you know that once those strands get cut, it goes everywhere. It's worse than a cat.
Right. Tell me about it.
So, no, we will not be handling shears nor chemicals in the kitchen, nor dining room, nor living room, and not even the bedroom.
Okay, that's a good point, because like I said, many people do work from home, and you made it very specific when you say you can work from an at-home office. You know, I believe if you're going to do that, you have to have that dedicated space, that this is the only thing that takes place there. So you have your setup with, you know, either it's a traditional station setup or you just put a mirror and a chair. If that's your dedicated space to what you're doing, there's nothing else going on there, then so be it. As long as you are licensed. Because I have an issue with unlicensed persons,
as do I,
practicing on people. You know, because it is a grave liability.
Grave liability.
Some people don't understand what they are doing. So, and I take that to like a couple of years ago here in DC, the braiders had to now become licensed, and they didn't understand why. And the reason was because, you know, the practices that they had in their shops were not necessarily according to the safe practices that we are governed by, you know, by the district. So, yes, there was a transfer of a lot of, you know, I don't want to say infectious diseases, but, you know, for lack of a better word, that's what it is.
There's no lack. It infectious diseases.
So they had to then be taught, you know, that this is what happens when that comb hits the floor and you pick it up and put it back in that person's head. These are the things that take place.
Yes.
So I think it's very important that you have that knowledge so that you can combat, you know, a lot of those little issues.
Yes, it causes people, if you create a space of respect, other people will respect you as a business person, and they will respect your space. But again, and I say it jokingly, but very seriously, if you treat people's health casually, then it doesn't command nor demand respect for yourself nor your craft. There are some awesome people, very creative people that are doing hair out of their homes and being unlicensed. It is not to say that you can't. It's just that there are some proper channels that you need to go through, because not only are you exposing your clients to unsanitary practices, but you're also risking yourself and your loved ones. Because what if someone comes into your home with lice or ringworms,
no idea what's going
and you don't know how to identify it, you don't know what it looks like, nor do you know how to treat your tools and implements, you don't know how to sanitize them correctly, nor do you have the proper chemicals to kill
Right.
those type of infectious diseases. So now you have brought someone into, and your home
Space,
is
right.
an intimate place.
Right.
So you have now exposed your family to infectious diseases. And I don't think that should be taken lightly.
Absolutely.
So, absolutely.
Great point. We're going to take another commercial break, and then we will be back with one of my favorite segments of the evening, The Tea.
The tea.
This is Shear Chat with Rashawn. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with our final segment of the evening. This is none other than The Tea. I love it.
I love it too.
Love it, love it, love it. And it is hot tonight. So before we go into that, I want to let you know that you can find us on Facebook at Shear Chat with Rashawn. You can find us on YouTube at Shear Chat with Rashawn also. So those two places you can always log on and see our past shows. You can watch the lives. You can see everything on there. So you have two places to watch our catalog shows. Let's go right in because these are good.
They are good.
So let's start with, first, let's do the Starbucks. So because that is the hot topic right now.
It is.
You know, so for those who don't know, recently, two gentlemen who are of African-American descent.
Black people.
Yeah. They were in a Starbucks in Philadelphia, and now they said they were sitting there waiting for a friend. And now, see, this is the problem I have, because it's always like several stories that go out. And so I'm starting to notice this as I read things, how there are different stories that go out. So the first story said that the gentleman, they were just sitting there waiting for a friend. And they waited, and then the manager asked that they leave because they were just sitting there. They weren't purchasing
They didn't make any
anything.
purchases.
Another story that I read said that they were sitting there and they asked to use the restroom. And so she said, you have to purchase something to use the restroom. They continued to sit, and then she asked them to be removed.
Yes.
So needless to say, when they did not leave, because, you know, Starbucks is a cafe. You can go and sit and, you know, work on your computer. You can do whatever you want in
That's
there.
what I heard.
Excuse me, as long as you're not hurting anybody else.
That's what I heard.
She done called the cops, people.
Word
She
on
called the
street.
cops and the cops. She called the police. and the police came. And so the thing that I thought was interesting when I watched the video, how, you know, they seemed to address the gentleman, you know, kind of respectfully, and were asking him to leave. And he seemed to be respectfully declining, that he wasn't doing anything wrong, you know, what have you. And then so, needless to say, they did handcuff them and escort them out. The one thing that I did like was there was no major commotion. There was no kicking, turning over tables and all that kind of stuff. Because as I looked at the guys, I said, it looked like they can stir up something.
As we can.
But, yeah, you know. But I was very glad that they had enough sense to calmly allow the police to handcuff them.
It served a purpose.
Exactly. And for them to be removed because it showed that they were not a threat. It further reinforced the point that they were not a threat because they weren't doing anything before, and now we're still not doing anything, and you've arrested us, and we're still not doing anything.
Which shows, too, that all protests don't have to be aggressive and violent.
Yes.
So
tell me, what do you think about that? Like, what's your thoughts on them being removed?
I like the fact, like you said, that they remain calm. I appreciated the fact that someone recorded what was going on in that moment, because it has also given our young people an example to follow. It gives exposure and it sheds additional light on the reoccurring racism or racist theme that is going on right now. However, I don't believe that Starbucks as a whole should be held responsible for the ignorance of that employee.
True.
I think that the spotlight should be shown upon that employee, that manager. And the fact that the CEO came out within 48 hours and he rendered an authentic apology, he addressed it, he said it was wrong, we were wrong, and we're going to handle this, and he's going to personally meet with those young men. I don't believe that is a reflection on Starbucks as a whole. I don't believe the ignorance of this one person in this one particular location is representative of all Starbucks. Yes, the company as a whole.
And when things go wrong, how often does the CEO meet with whomever the issue is with? You know, and so I said, to me, that spoke volumes. Usually there's a representative.
That's
you have
what caught my
somebody from your marketing department, or
the attorney.
Exactly. You have all these people that could possibly talk to the people to try to smooth things over. But he said he wanted to be responsible, that he took on that responsibility to meet with them, to make sure that things are right moving forward.
Absolutely.
Now, did you hear about the young gentleman who applied to the 20 universities?
I did.
Okay, and then how the news reporter...
I did.
That. So what was your take on that whole incident?
Initially, because the news reporter who said it was right up the street, so it was broadcast it was a little bit more amplified because it was in our backyard. It was unnecessary.
Okay, so before you go on, let me just say, so the incident itself was a young African-American man had applied to 20 different universities. He had been accepted to all 20 with full scholarships. And a newscaster made a negative comment about him doing so. And so we were saying, you know, did she have the right, you know, was it really that serious for her to make those comments? What was the reason behind her doing that? And, you know, what was she hoping to accomplish?
Well, I think, again, 21st century, everyone is out here without a cause. Even the news. How do you report on someone being raped, robbed, malicious murders, and then moving on to the weather? Our news is unrealistic. These people are detached, they are emotionless, and they're not thinking rationally, and I think they are encouraged to say things for ratings.
Okay.
I think our newscasters don't really report the news, the important news. They are encouraged to become entertainers. Therefore, I think those absent-minded thoughts is a result of, I think, their executive producers encouraging them to say stupid things on a regular basis, or to be witty. And, you know, I've seen there's a certain channel that I won't say, but they pause in the middle of segments and give their input, and it always has to have a punchline. Sweetheart, this is news.
Okay, this is not Comedy Hour.
Right, this is not Def Comedy Jam. Like, I am distraught over the stuff you just said. Like, I'm literally looking at the Amtrak crash, like, oh my God. And here they are talking about, and girl, how do you segue? Like, who's in charge of this?
Who is driving this train?
Like, Amtrak is already off the track. Here comes Fox 5. So it's like, no. I think they're in a position where they become mindless. And that woman, and I don't know the circumstances, and I'll say this. College-educated people, most college-educated people, understand the application process. And to apply and pay, Hallelujah, for 3 schools is enough.
That's what I was saying.
And initially, I was like, that was a little obsessive. I said, 20? What kind of time does he have on his hands? However, if he is of the scholarly status that I learned him to be, he probably didn't pay for those application fees. He had a perfect SAT score, pretty much, and he probably had help. So he probably got a couple of 2-for-1 deals in terms of this essay kind of corresponded with this one, and maybe he didn't put as much energy into all 20. Then I saw the video of the young man. And to be honest, his academic history is probably that he's in the books all the time. And if that was his goal, if that's what he wanted to do, my 6th grade teacher, Dr. Sandra Williams, always told me, honey, shoot for the moon.
Right.
Because if you fall, at least you'll land amongst the stars.
That's right.
And I think Homeboy was shooting for a different kind of moon, but it was a moon nonetheless.
But you know what? That was my point, because I was sharing with the my 2 friends. I said, you know, when you apply for schools, you have no idea, regardless of how good your grades are, you have no idea if that school is going to choose to accept you, because not all schools, well, they look at the academics, but then they also have different other criteria that they have to meet.
Yes.
So, you know, I may, as a Harvard, I may accept, you know, a certain amount of students who have, you know, SAT scores that are in the 95%, but now I have to meet my minority demographic.
Yes,
you know, I have all these other things that I have to meet. So I said to myself, could he have been doing it saying, I'm going to apply to Harvard, but if I don't get Harvard, I want
plan
Yale.
B, plan C.
If I don't get Yale, I want this one. And that's what I said to me. That's how I rationalized it. And I said, I wasn't even thinking about, you know, what you said about the additional assistance in applying for the schools. But if you take the time, because I know for me,
child, my top 3, that was enough. I was wore out after the first one.
I do not want to do this anymore.
And I have a niece applying for schools, and her mom said, girl, you better pick your 3. That's all I'm paying for. But also, like I said, with his grades, with his academic history and things like that, he probably had his application fees waived, and that changes the game
altogether.
So yeah, when money is not a factor or an issue, then I would say applaud the young man, because he could have been spending his evenings doing something else reckless or careless, if he's anything like some of the grown men I know, playing video games all night long. And then, but he spent his time applying for schools.
But then, you know, as you were just talking, I thought about this. Did
you have a revelation?
So I did. I said, you know, and this could because, you know, I could be being a little racially sensitive. However, because I see that as something that should be applauded.
That's what I just said.
Not even just that he, you know, applied to the 20 schools, but you applied and you got full scholarship. To me, that is something that I would be plastering that young man. Sir, do you need to come and sit in this chair one weekend so we can talk about this? That's something that should be applauded.
Absolutely.
That's a major feat.
Absolutely.
So not just that he applied to the schools, but he applied and got in. And got full financial scholarship. So to me, that was just, you know, let's move on. Since we're talking about colleges, we're going to talk about the HBCU. But
the University of Beyonce?
Yes. To bring in that, we are going to speak on Beyonce's appearance at Coachella this weekend, which I heard was absolutely hot. I saw a couple of videos, and you know, it was kind of good. She gave me a little fever that I liked.
She did it. She did it.
She gave me. I'll say she gave me what I like to see. I like that grandiose. If you're going to put on a show, you need to put on a show.
Do it.
And she did just that.
Did it.
I mean, she hit the top and then still took it a little bit above.
Yeah.
You know, the one thing that I liked was that she incorporated all the facets that we see in a traditional HBCU at that event. And then as I read many articles, they were talking about how would the people respond to it, because the demographic is not largely African American.
So her performance was unapologetically Black, but at the same time, I was just a different world all over the place. I mean, they were stepping. That's what I was raised watching, you know, God bless his soul, The Cosby Show. But immediately afterwards, a different world. So I was like, oh my goodness, that, you know, the Qs, you know, the Kappas, the step. Remember when Ron Johnson was stepping and everybody was a part of a frat or a sorority on a different world. It took my mind back there. And at this point in time, like I said, Black culture is really coming to the forefront. And the thing is this, and so many people are going to disagree, but it's okay. It's okay to share. We can share the culture. Yes, it is ours. It's like your child and a car. You know, I can give you the keys, but you know it's mine.
Right.
Take care of it when you're out. You know, do not wreck my car. Return my and give it back when I tell you when I ask for it. But that's how it is with our culture. We can share it because, believe it or not, I have quite a few Caucasian clients that attend HBCUs.
Absolutely.
And they love the experience, the information and education that is taught at HBCUs has been overlooked and undervalued for so long that when they come in and they see it, they're like, whoa.
Wow. They are blown.
They are blown away.
Because that was one of the things that I raised last evening, and I said, you know, to me, the education of culture starts within the home. You can't leave that up to anybody else to teach.
Absolutely.
And so the conversation started with, you know, our HBCUs as relevant as they were when they were started. Is the need for them to be there the same as when it started?
I would say it shouldn't.
Okay.
It shouldn't be because if they taught true American history the way they are supposed to from grammar school on up, the necessity of it would not be so great. But because they don't,
Right.
and they acting like they won't,
Right.
then the necessity is it's there.
So what I'm saying is that, you know, in sharing culture, like I love the whole thing with the Black Panther movie. You know, I was getting tired of watching people. Yes, I was getting tired of you folks seeing you on Facebook with all of your African garb and things. But the one thing that kept coming to me was I could appreciate the fact that there was yet another moment for us to come together to celebrate heritage and culture. And that's what I kept finding myself in that thought as I saw the things. And I was like, okay, you bought this out. This is your Black History outfit. You done bought out. You done dusted it off and put it on to go to the movies and all that. But again, it just kept saying to me, it's yet another opportunity for us to come together to celebrate, you know, the culture and the history and heritage that we have.
So that was cute.
Child, y'all about to experience the real Shanae. Come on with it.
So again, it is important to have some type of reality check in the things that we say. Yeah, I was sickened to my stomach. The roses, the rose petals being thrown as, you know, they were walking. That was a bit much. Because, and I'll say this, all of y'all ain't queens. No. Some of us still have some work to be done. Okay?
See what I'm saying?
And yeah, it was a moment to appreciate Black culture and things like, but it goes back to the HBCU thing though, where HBCUs, as they're necessary, they're vital, but where we fall short is the entertainment piece of it and the need to be seen. When you go to a HBCU, education is oftentimes not the priority. That girls will not go to class if that weave is not done. If the Gucci is not fitting. That's not why you are there, sweetheart. So we have to kind of take a step back and check our priorities and the education. I mean, again, it's sad when other people can appreciate the things that, or the contributions that our ancestors, I can't even say it's our ancestors, because we have been gifted with these things. We have not earned them, sweetheart. We have been gifted with the heritage that we have. So when other people respect it and they check it out and everything, all of it, I think it should all be included, and everyone should not be pushed away, because it's important to understand this is all of our history.
So I have another question that I wanted to ask you in terms of the whole, or I wouldn't say, there's this new thing that I read in terms of Beyonce. Mm-hmm. And apparently, or I should say allegedly, she put out a statement that she didn't want any of her fans, followers, what have you, to post any pictures from Coachella this weekend because she wasn't sure of how they would look. So she was trying to rid the possibility of any unflattering photos being published. What do you think about that?
I wholeheartedly agree, because in true light-skinned girl fashion, what you're not going to do is have me out here looking crazy. I believe that that is responsible branding.
Okay.
Because if you look on her Instagram, Homegirl has posted enough pictures for you to have a field day. Now, she didn't say that people couldn't have their personal photos.
Well, she said, please do not.
But what you want, don't share them with the world.
So if I'm at Coachella and I'm in the third row,
you better hold that memory in your heart.
And I saw you doing your thing, and I take my camera and take a picture. Why I can't post that on my Facebook?
Because number one, also think about branding. She's a businesswoman. It's multifaceted. Number one, it takes away the value of the people that actually bought a ticket to be there.
Okay.
So if you weren't there, there's some things like a true lady you have to hold sacred. Amen.
Okay.
Number two, there have been several pictures of Beyonce in the past, say where her facial expression, even though she was being passionate in her dance moves, a still shot, it was like, oh, that's not that's not the queen.
Right.
Or also, remember the picture where she kind of went down and it had a picture, it caught the still of her.
Oh, no, I
her
didn't
lady,
see that.
yes, and the print was there.
Oh, no,
you remember
I
that
didn't
one?
see that.
Yes. So, yes, honey, take control of your brand.
Okay. So
and allow the world to see what you want them to see.
When you put it like that, yes. But I looked at it more so as, if I'm a consumer, and I purchased this ticket, and I heard the tickets were fairly pricey.
As always.
Okay.
That's not our event.
Yeah, so, and I'm in the third row, fifth row, 10th row, and I'm that close. Part of me taking that picture is showing you, baby, I'm up close.
Well,
personal.
What you should have done was establish enough integrity in your community before you got there that they will believe you. But that's all you have is your word at this point.
Oh my God!
You can post your picture of Cardi B. It won't be the queen bee, okay?
She said absolutely not.
No.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because I thought about it as you were speaking, when in terms of the showmanship, bringing it back to Coachella, because that is a large part. I look at that as a large part of our history and our culture is the showmanship, because we look at how important dance was in the African culture, how important song was, prior to us even thinking about coming here, or because we didn't think about coming here, we were brought here. However,
just woke up and
I woke up
and landed on.
But how important it was then. So then I look at the translation of all the dance and the music and the song, with, say, even just that performance. And when you go to the HBCUs, how much you see of the song, the dance, the stepping, all of that showmanship, that is a rich part of our history.
It's in our blood. Some of us have a terrible case of it, can't help it. It's just what we do. But for those onlookers, that are like, what's going on? I don't, this is my opinion. I don't believe that's the time to say, no, this is mine, you can't have it. I think that's the opportunity to educate, to share. Don't try to steal it like y'all always do. You can't have it. I'm just going to show you. But educate and share what it's about, so they too we have to teach them to respect us.
Absolutely.
Respect is absolutely something that is taught. but it can't be done in arrogance. Like, no, you can't have it. You know, no, you can't have it.
Catch that.
It's mine.
Okay.
Like, share. Like, so we have to embrace the fact that everyone is not against us. And we have to recognize those that are and treat them accordingly. But for the ones who are with us in the struggle, we have to love on them accordingly.
And I was going to say in the same thing. Those who are, know who they are and treat them accordingly.
You treat them accordingly. So you love on me, I'm going to love on you back.
All right.
Try to steal my dashiki, we're going to treat you accordingly.
I can't take it. This has been another exciting evening of Shear Chat. Lord have mercy. Shanae, please tell us how we can get in touch with you if someone wanted to book an appointment or they just wanted to come have a good old laugh with you.
And they will. I'm located in Twin Towers at the intersection of Georgia Avenue and Colesville Road. First floor of the apartment building, and people come down just to chat with me all the time. I've been told I'm a good hairstylist.
Okay.
If you want to book online, my website is www.indulgebgl.com, Indulge Beauty and Grooming Lounge. I am on Instagram at Shanae Indulges. And what else? I have a Facebook page. You can find me at Indulge Beauty and Grooming Lounge or DM me. Phone number 301-844-5464. So the salon, if you're trying to make an appointment.
Yeah.
So
don't be calling for no other reason.
Don't be calling me. Don't be calling me.
So again, this has been Shear Chat with Rashawn. This is the T, our most exciting segment of the evening, in my opinion. I love this part. You can find us on Facebook at Shear Chat. Is our Facebook page. You can also find the catalog of shows, as well as this show will be there soon on our YouTube page, which is Shear Chat with Rashawn Broadneck. So this has been, again, another exciting evening. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. And we will definitely have you back again.
Of course.
Definitely.
I wear my dashiki next time.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you have a great evening, and thanks so much for joining us. Have a wonderful night.